Dreams are dealt every day at the World Series of Poker. In 2003, the World Series dealt him a dream. Chris Moneymaker is atop the poker world.
This is beyond fairy tale. It's inconceivable.
Chris Moneymaker gave every amateur hope that a main event bracelet was possible.
All that pressure and 7 grueling days of poker play is finally over.
10 years ago, the former accountant navigated a field of 839. This year's champion must find his or her way through 6,352 players.
This is prime time, right here in the United States, Las Vegas. This is the big bad boy.
The main event is the best thing in poker. Poker takes the spotlight globally.
The main event is euphoria, it's utopia, it's where you want to be.
This is a tournament for everyone, and everyone is here. Pros, amateurs, dreamers, perhaps the next Chris Moneymaker. A dream begins tonight here at the World Series of Poker main event.
I had a dream so big and loud, I jumped so high, I touched the clouds. Whoa, oh, oh.
Texas Dolly Brunson, who wrote the book.
This is gonna be the best day.
Moving in for the kill.
And there it is. Helmuth wins the championship.
Moneymaker puts his name amongst the greatest players in the game.
Wake me now.
Greg Merson is the main event champion.
Gonna be the best day of my life.
Biggest day of my life.
Main event, day 3.
This is it, the tournament everyone in the poker world circles on the calendar. Welcome to day 3 of the 2013 World Series of Poker main event. Hi everybody, Lon McCarran along with Norman Chad and Kara Scott from the Rio, where current chip leader Mark Kroon is chatting with Norwegian poker pro Annette Overstad.
If I'm the chip leader after this day, there's no stopping me.
We're an hour and a half from both going for lunch. That's where we're at.
How you feeling?
I don't know. I'm wearing a diaper, so you tell me.
The defending champ is here. Greg Merson, part of the day 3 action.
Nothing better than walking into the main event and seeing your larger-than-life image staring down at you at the entrance.
Among the throng is the poker brat looking for his 100th career World Series cash.
Phil Hellmuth, the 1989 world champ, tweeting his followers that he just ran to somebody famous who knows him.
Former Survivor contestant Jean-Robert Ballon is stacked.
He actually talks to the table more than the poker brat, and it's not always constructive conversation.
Over at the secondary table, the legend, Doyle Brunson, making his presence felt on the felt.
He does not have to say a word, and you know poker royalty is in the house.
The legendary trash talker, Sean Chacon, has an above-average stack.
What he does, Lon, isn't trash talking, it's waste disposal talking.
Madison, Wisconsin's Mark Kroon, the only player over $500,000. A little earlier, Kara Scott caught up with an amateur, playing his first main event in the most difficult of conditions.
Day 3 of the main event is about to start, and there are a lot of players out there who want to be in the shoes of this man. This is Willie Horton. He still has chips and a shot at the title and the money. However, your position at the table you're going into is not so good. Tell me about this.
I'm sitting next to Phil Ivey, one of the best poker players in the world, one of my idols, and I'm super nervous right now.
And in terms of your chip stack as well, a little bit low on chips?
I'm very low, but I'm confident I can get back up there. Play smart and play my position and play aggressive, and I'll be fine.
Now, you are also going to be sitting at a feature table, so does that worry you at all? Does that kind of add a little extra nerves to the situation?
Yeah, a lot of extra nerves, but I'll be all right once I start going.
Well, good luck out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Kara.
Nice fella, should be knocked out within the hour.
No huge stacks at the table, but 6 players above average. One of them, Nebraskan Phil Mader. On Mader's right is the reason this table is featured, 9-time bracelet winner Phil Ivey.
I pick him to win it every year. He's gotten close 3 times in the last decade, but close don't feed the bulldog. You're either a champ or a chump. Do it, Phil.
I only live once. Give it a whip, and I'm like, oh, what's that? This is rough.
A16, right?
Just a long tournament.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like I said, like my.
It gets longer now, though, if you keep going, right? Like, no more breaks.
Yeah, but like my first, like we played Sunday, I got done, I was like, oh, right when we just crashed and burned. This is tough.
You played anything else, or just the main?
No, I just played the main event. I
went and played after that.
Huh?
I went and played more poker after that.
You serious?
Yeah, he's serious. He's Phil Ivey. He plays poker at traffic lights.
Willie speaks the truth. This event will grind you down. 4 chips in play right now. The blind's at 8 and 1600. Action on Ola Lua Okelola, software engineer with ace-10 off. He gave us a great gift, Norman. He says, just call me Ola.
That we will.
And a raise to 3,500.
This is the 8th straight time the main event field has exceeded 6,000 entrants.
These players have already made it through 2 long days of play. The average stack right now about 109,000. Folded to Phil Ivey on the button with pocket 7s.
Ivey 10th in the 2003 main event, 7th in the 09 main event.
Just won his 9th bracelet at World Series Asia Pacific. To the big blind, a farmer from Nebraska, Phil Mater, 6-5 off, and he makes the call.
So it will be the farmer, the engineer, and Phil Ivey.
Welcome to the main event. The flop 4, 5, 8, a pair of 5s with a gut shot for Mater. And he checks to Ola with 2 overcards.
Ola once interned at Microsoft and Google, now works for Facebook. Think he could fix the pop-ups I keep getting?
He continues with a bet of 6,200. Ivey's still ahead. He picked up a gut shot, too. Phil regards his 2 amateurs at this table. $6,200 in his hand, and he calls. Mater knows he's beat and gives it up.
Good laydown from the farmer. So now it's the engineer versus Phil Ivey.
Heads up. Queen of clubs on the turn, both with a flush draw. Ola's is higher.
Ola wondering if he wants to continue to try and outplay Ivey out of position.
Check. He checks. Ivey with the second biggest stack at this table. Checks as well.
All players check.
River card. King of spades misses Ola. He's left with ace high. And he checks again. Ivey checks back, and Ivey will be pleased to take the pot with 7s.
Error-free poker there from Phil Ivey. That's what I'm always preaching to him.
214,000 plus. Ivey with the most chips at this table. Ola wondering if maybe a turn or river bet could have ended the hand in his favor.
This is anybody's first World Series besides me. We're not talking to you, Phil. We're not talking to you. We're not. Never seen that guy before in my life.
See this.com?
11 years of the World Series of Poker main event with you, Norman, Chad, and it feels like so often we start the season talking about the same 3 things. How many players have entered the main event, the chance of an unknown making a deep run, and of course, your favorite player, Phil Ivey.
11 years together, Lon, and I am stoked. I know they tried to fire you after the first year, and they've tried to fire me every year since, but we have learned how to play a short stack. And my main man, Phil Ivey, he can play any stack, anytime, anywhere, anyhow, anyway, against anybody. Good luck, Willie Horton. You've got the worst seat in the house. Me and Lon have the best seats because Phil Ivey can't raise us from where we're sitting.
What a long way he's come from his no-home Jerome days as an underage poker player in Atlantic City, Phil Ivey. All right, over to our secondary table. Look who holds a lot of chips. Texas Dolly himself, nearly 213,000 for Doyle Brunson, and he can still rock the hat. The under-the-gun player here, Pavel Zawodowicz, an IT worker from Poland with pocket aces, has raised it up to 3,500. You see Doyle Brunson get rid of it in middle position. Ciro Zuccarello with ace-6 folds as well.
But they got you, they got your statue right there next to the moneymaker. How do you feel about that? Honestly. I want to hear your thoughts.
Texas Dolly not as chatty as Sheiky.
I don't want your gestures. I want your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts.
Everybody says it looks like hard parking.
I don't know what the hell.
And the big blind, another software engineer, Alan Whelan from Spokane.
Oh, you?
Yeah.
Where is he at?
I don't know. He had a lot of...
You quit playing, right?
Alan gets the big blind discount and will take a flop.
That was your like main dude, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. That was like
flop 10. Jack. What a flop for Whelan as his Jack's full grabs a 10-1 advantage. They both check. The ace is in trouble. Turn card is an ace. Oh, the cruelty. Zawodowicz turns a bigger boat. Whelan checks.
This hand is a cruel experiment in human behavior. It just isn't fair.
Zawodowicz reaching for chips now. 4,500.
Whelan doubled through Doyle Brunson on day 2 with a straight flush. He's in danger of seeing all those chips disappear right here.
Whelan flopping Jack's full.
4,500.
But then his Polish counterpart came back with a big left hook on the turn. And just a call.
He is slow playing his full house again.
River card now. 4 of clubs. Let's see if Whelan is up to a bet here.
Yeah, he's been waiting for this moment.
Over half the pot, 10,006.
Only 2 hands would beat Wheeland. Ace-ace or ace-jack. Of course, Zavadovich has one of them.
And he with the bigger stack raises Wheeland all in. How does he get away? He can't. And that beautiful flop only set Whelan up to be knocked out of the main event.
No problem.
This game is unforgiving. You flop the nuts, and then a few moments later, you're flopping out of here.
Even Doyle, who's probably seen that 100 times, has to feel for Whelan.
My sympathies to Alan Wheeland.
Boy, you come to the main event long enough, and you see just about everything. Whelan making his exit after the tough beat.
They take all of your chips, Lon, and they don't even care.
Zavadovich with a nice bump to his stack. All right, we go from our secondary table to an outer table where Jean-Robert Belland is on the short end of an aces versus kings battle with Kevin Williams pre-flop. Williams just 4-bet to 40,000.
Belland in danger of seeing his once big stack dwindle. Williams, a theater director in London, says theater is probably the only job less stable than gambling.
Black belt? You're a black belt?
Not yet.
Black belt?
Not yet.
What level are you?
A blue belt.
How close are you to being a black belt?
Hopefully a bit closer after this hand.
I don't know if Jean-Robert is trying to get a tell on him or if he wants to fight him.
Come on.
Belland re-raises Williams all in, and Kevin says, yes, thank you.
Nice hand, William.
We've seen Belland run rough a lot at the main event over the years.
The flop, 7, Jack, 5, nothing there for Jean-Robert. Turn card, another 7, 1 chance left for Belland to knock out Williams.
Williams has got to avoid a king to double up through Jean-Robert.
River's the 4 of spades, and Williams will double up.
And Williams can afford a lot of black belts now, and Belland is short stacked.
The vacant look on his face tells the whole story. You can work for days to build a decent stack, only to have it shrink away in seconds. Williams with a very healthy stack.
On day 6, I did the same exact thing, aces against kings, the other way, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Only the guy hit the king on the river.
Those hands happen all the time at the main event, but Jean-Robert Belland seems to get more than his fair share. The 2013 World Series of Poker is brought to you by Caesars Casino on Facebook. What happens in Vegas now can go anywhere. Welcome back to the Rio for Day 3 coverage of the World Series of Poker main event. We check back in at the featured table where Willie Horton in the small blind opened for 3,500 with ace-jack of hearts, and the big blind, Phil Ivey, with 10-4. And he makes the call. And Horton will live every amateur player's dream, having a shot at Phil Ivey, his favorite player.
Horton works in education and behavioral modification.
Flop 7-5-9, not the flop that Horton dreamed of.
I'm in my first main event. I whiffed on the flop, and I'm out of position against Phil Ivey. What should I do?
He hands the keys to Phil. Ivey, the seasoned pro, against the amateur. 5,100 and a quick fold from Willie.
Ivey threw in that 5,100 like, if I just threw in 100, you'd fold.
Ivey says, it's just too easy.
Everyone gets their share of cards, Lon. It's who wins the pots when you don't have the cards that make you a good player.
Horton down to 27 big blinds. 1,740 players remain from an original field of 6,352. But when Doyle Brunson's in the house, he often collects most of the attention. But at one point, it looked like Doyle might not take his seat.
I wasn't going to play. The hours and the days are just so long and demanding. And Ty called me, Ty Stewart, and he said they had this special presentation that they wanted to do and everything. So I came down, and then he handed me a ticket and said, if you want to play, here's a seat with your name on it. So I said, okay, I'll go do my best.
There's so much like hope for someone like myself that wants to have a really long career, and then to see someone like him that's been doing it for 60+ years, it's like, all right, it actually can be done.
You know, Doyle's the man, he's a legend, and most poker players should look up to him.
Don't cry because it's over. You smile because it happened. So let's shuffle up and deal.
Doyle looked like he was sizing up that bust to take home for the mantelpiece.
On the button with pocket jacks, Doyle needs 4,000 to call the raise of Sean Chacon holding ace-10. And Doyle does just that. To the big blind, Vincent Maglio, poker pro from Revere, Massachusetts, and he calls.
The 24-year-old was second in a no-limit event earlier at this World Series.
3 players will see this flop. 7, tray, 8. Top pair for Maglio, no spades. He checks. Chacon now.
Chacon, 43-year-old Las Vegas pro with 11 World Series cashes.
He checks as well. Doyle Brunson, nice flop for the jacks. And Doyle bets 8,500. Maglio with top pair, but way behind, raises all in. Chacon gives it up now to Doyle with the jacks. And Doyle makes the call. Maglio in trouble.
And Maglio runs into a bad spot, and Brunson, 55 years his senior, in position to knock him out.
Doyle with a healthy stack, looking to get healthier. Queen of clubs, same outs for Maglio.
Maglio will need a 9 or an 8 to stick around.
The river card is an ace, and Doyle Brunson with the knockout of Vinny Maglio.
Career knockout, 232,437 for Doyle Brunson.
No money for Maglio, but as Vinny disappears into the sea of tables here at the Amazon Room, his chips will stay behind, but in the very capable hands of a living legend.
Sneaky though. Nothing with your jacks?
Yeah. I'm looking to play a big pot.
Summer in Vegas means one thing to poker players, a new World Series of Poker. This year, 6,352 players entered the main event with 30,000 chips and a dream.
Players, good luck, and dealers, shuffle up and deal.
The field on days 1 and 2 was loaded.
There's a whole physical regime to poker.
Celebrities galore.
It's very sexy what's going on over there. I see it.
It's not just sitting.
I got 12,000. How much you got?
Flicking.
I got 33.5. I'm gonna hit you with the friggin' hammer.
And bobbing, staring. Very physical.
Hang on.
I'm depressed.
Big name players, Daniel Negreanu, Antonio Esfandiari.
It was a lot of down, not so much up.
Don't make a fool out of yourself.
Phil Hellmuth.
The mouth pumped up, day 1.
Phil Ivey. Tom Dwan. Doyle Brunson. Sammy Farha. Former champions Chris Moneymaker. Joe Hashem. Joe Cata. P.S. Hines. And last year's champ Greg Merson. And Jamie Gold.
I showed up.
Colorful characters.
I'm hungry.
World Series of Poker, yeah!
And while some would survive to day 3,
I'm playing with monks. You look at he's smiling. He's smiling.
Most would suffer the cruel fate of an early bust out.
Gentlemen, have a great year.
When it doesn't work, it just doesn't work.
How can you do that? Hey, easy. I'm leaving. There wasn't no problem.
More than 4,500 players have been eliminated as day 3 gets underway. The player who had the best first 2 days, that man, 52-year-old Mark Kroon, longtime friend of Phil Hellmuth, who's had success both away from the felt and on it.
He met Phil Hellmuth playing poker in a neighborhood bar in Madison in the mid-1980s. Mark ended up buying that bar. He was 399th at the 2011 main event, and in 2012, won a World Series circuit ring and bowled a 300 game.
Kroon with 2 aces has the action after Michael Hury re-raised with ace-king.
I'm all in.
Kroon says, let's play for your stack, and gets a call.
I mean, I come over for one hand and you have aces, hope?
Thank you, Phil Hellmuth. I've never said that before, ever in my life. I might be chirping too quick.
You flash me one hand. Aces?
Shouldn't Hellmuth be in mid-rant somewhere else?
Keep it red, dealer.
Here's the flop, all red. That means all zeros for Hury. This is how chip leaders are made. A 9 shuts the book on the hand.
Boo-hoo! Crab cakes and football. Sorry about that, sir.
I could be chip leader with aces against ace-king. Come on.
Crab cakes and football. Crab cakes and football. That's how we do it.
Hurry, an L.A. lawyer. Can't he afford something better than a backpack?
Another 100 grand for Kroon stack.
Oh, I came over here to say no one's ever been chip leader 2 days in a row, and he flushed me aces and re-raised. Life is good, poker.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad. And look how hot my dealer is.
I thought Helmuth would never leave.
So Mark Kroon still the top dog here on day 3 of the main event. Let's get back to the featured table. Folded to the amateur from Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, Willie Horton with ace-queen.
35.
Says raised, throws out a 5K chip.
35.
Yeah, he made a mistake.
But he announced 3,500. Nobody protests.
What a friendly table we are.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Ola with Queen Jack in the big blind makes the call.
I didn't look at my cards.
You could see how you agreed so easily. What a gentleman you are.
Heads up, Jack. Queen trade, top 2 for Ola, and he checks top pair, top kicker for Willie.
55.
Announces 5,500.
You sure?
55.
So many ways ace-queen turns into a loser. So many ways.
Now Ola with the big hand. A check raise to 13-5.
Top pair, top kicker. Bad news for Willie Horton.
Short stack says all in. Ola
38,900.
I call.
Makes the call. Willie Horton at risk and in trouble.
Well, Ola took so long to call. Willie might have thought he was ahead.
Willie is way behind. So Ola with a chance for the knockout. 10 of hearts. That helps a little with a Broadway draw for Horton.
So now Horton needs an ace or a king or he is gone.
The river card. Will it be Horton's last? Yes, it will.
Good luck, everybody.
And Willie Horton is another day 3 casualty.
The engineer, Feltz the educator.
38,900.
Ola, the Nigerian-born engineer, gets a little richer.
Are you sure it wasn't 5,000 pre-flop?
I honestly hadn't looked at my cards. I don't care. I probably would still have called 5,000 in that.
Let's go down to Kara Scott.
We've lost Willie Horton from our feature table. Unfortunately, one of those kind of standard setup hands that happen in poker. What are you going to take away from this experience?
I've learned a lot about poker, learned a lot about myself, and I love the main event, and I would do it again.
What did you learn about yourself in particular?
I can play poker with the best of them and make it.
You certainly can. You were sitting with pretty much the best player in the world. Phil Ivey was there. He gave you a bit of advice in the beginning?
Yeah, he told me relax for the first 30 minutes and cover my whole cards because he can see part of the cards.
That is good advice. Well, thank you so much for talking to us, and hopefully you do take away a lot from this.
I do. Thank everybody. Good luck, everybody.
Willie Horton's main event run ends early here on day 3. A look at downtown Las Vegas. Seems like a lot less than 10 years ago that Chris Moneymaker struck gold at Binion's. Inside the Rio, actor-comedian Kevin Pollak still with chips. In this week's edition of Side Action, Kevin charms his interview subject.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm a diamond bracelet worth $500,000. How do you think I'm doing?
Talk to me a little bit about the history of the World Series of Poker bracelet.
Well, I was born this year. You think I know something about history? What kind of questions are these?
If there was one wrist in poker that you'd like to be on, whose would it be?
Well, Antonio Esfandiari has an excellent wrist. Thin, not too bony, just the right amount of hair to soften the movement. I could roll on that.
Okay.
Or, if I may, Jennifer Tilly. Wow.
While we're on the subject, are you single? Seeing anyone?
I just got out of a long relationship with a diamond necklace. She was a great piece of jewelry. But in the end, we got a bit tangled up, if you know what I mean.
So, nothing now?
I'm on the cusp of something big. Should know pretty soon. But I gotta keep it under wraps.
Kevin Pollak truly talking, walking with a World Series bracelet.
I was very specific in my thoughts. I wasn't meandering.
Kevin a bit short on chips right now. Jean-Robert Ballant had high hopes of a deep run, but he's way below average.
A smaller stack equals a quiet Jean-Robert.
Greg Merson seems to have the hang of this main event thing.
He's trying to become the first world champ since Joe Hashem to cash the following year in the main event.
And the Michael Mizrachi train just grinding along as usual.
3-time bracelet winner, and every time you look up, he seems to have a stack in front of him.
I said to Scott, the only thing to be better is, because I was watching you on day 2 at the University.
Oh, you know the best
if I
wife
get
ever,
sat
you
at
let
the
your
table with
husband
Elizabeth Hill,
gamble
that would be
$10,000.
great. And then I'm like freaking out this morning. I'm like, you're not going to believe what I said next day. He's like, you're such a groupie. I'm not a super stalker or anything, but I'm a big fan.
Sounds like a stalker.
Look at them all. They're scared of me. They want a table change away from the Capitao. You can always just 3-bet me and then I'll ship it in your face and then you can go away. That would work as well.
Trash talk comes in all accents.
He's good though. He's Co Capitao. Co Capitao is short today. Co Capitao has won all of the pots he's played though. I do bless one player at the table with the run good today. This man, watch this space. He's going to end the day with 300,000 chips. Mark my words, 300,000 for Co Capitao and about 400,000 for Capitao. I won't be too greedy.
Oliver Gill, the Aussie from Magnetic Island in Queensland, does have the gift of gab and a lot of chips to play with. Back now over to the feature table, and seed 1 is Phil Mader. He told us this was not the best time for him to be playing poker, considering he's a farmer. He said his son, though, was there to take care of the corn so he could take care of his chips.
Well, his grandfather was a farmer, his father was a farmer, he's a farmer, and his son is a farmer. It's a farming dynasty. He met his wife, Linda, in the 5th grade. I think that's a little young to make a commitment, but heck, it's worked out for them.
Mader open raised to 3,500 with King Queen called by Ola's A7 suited. Now Ivy in the big with 2 red 4s will come along.
Again, it's the farmer and the engineer against Phil Ivy.
These are the top 3 stacks at this table, and they will see a flop. 4, 7, Queen. Wow, something for each, but Ivy's set of 4s stands tallest, and he checks. Top pair for Mader.
And no reason for Mader not to like top pair with a king kicker.
5,500, middle pair for Ola. Ola is game. Now Ivy with a set of 4s. The pro with a check raise to 18,000. And Ivy's biggest fans, the Humphreys, are in the house. Good to see them.
I've asked them to follow me around the country playing poker, but they have declined.
Mader likes his big queen, and he comes along for 12,500.
Well, Ola can't like it as much anymore.
And he does get rid of middle pair, so heads up now to the turn.
I never get any value with my sets, so I'm writing down what Ivy just did. Check, get both players to commit chips, then check raise, and thin the field.
Jack of diamonds. Ivy now has Mader drawing dead. And Phil with a lot of the orange chips, a healthy bet of 35,000.
Ivy bets 2/3 the pot and hopes he has a farmer on the hook.
Well, the farmer does have top pair with a king kicker, but he's drawing dead and makes the call. And they are building a good-sized pot. River card, another queen. Ivy with 4s full. Mader with trip queens. And Ivy moves in for more than the size of the pot. Mader has him covered, but barely.
Well, Mader has to love that river card, but of course, it's the worst card possible for him. Good luck getting away from this hand, Phil Mader.
The Nebraska farmer challenging the man they call the best poker player in the world, Phil Ivy. Mader with a decision for almost all of his chips. It's a tough one for Phil Mader, one that he'll have to consider during the break. Back now at the featured table, farmer Phil Mader put to a decision for almost all his chips by Phil Ivy. Ivy rivered a full house with the same card that gave Mader trip queens.
Trying to push a farmer around.
Ivy overbet the pot, hoping Mader's hand is strong enough to call.
And after much thought, Mader folds and saves his main event unbeknownst to him.
A reluctant fold, but a good one from Farmer Phil.
If Ivy knew what Mader just laid down, even he would be impressed. How good was it? Let's see what Antonio Esfandiari and Phil Luck think in tonight's edition of Pro Analysis.
This is a totally nuts hand. It shows you how tough poker can be. I'm making the call
Mater's a genius for folding.
And this is why he's a fish, because sometimes just because you have a monster does not mean you have to call. Phil Ivey is representing a bigger than one pair hand on the flop. And so unless he's check, raise, bluffing all the way through, he has what he's representing, which is bigger than one pair. And so when you make trips on the river, if your opponent has what he's representing, then it's no good. So just because you have a monster doesn't mean it's the best hand. Mater, I give you massive props for making this fold.
Massive props.
Yeah, Phil Locke's a better looking fish than I am, but I agree with him. That is one tough fold.
They never come around with... Can't wait to see that on TV. I think I'm right. I really do. Or else it's really a terrible laydown. Well, that one might be because it's big hand. He's all in.
Want to do? They have a camera where you have to show it.
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows. I'm going to look really bad. It's going to look really good or really bad.
That's hot over.
Shows
King 10.
Plus, I was nervous.
Mater's wife, Linda, has been standing by her man the whole main event. And that fold allows Mater to keep the bulk of his chips. Jean-Robert Belland is not his chatty self after running kings into aces, but back on day 2, he showed some of the personality he's known for.
Mike check, is that gonna mess things up? Start the clock. I was bluffing. I was in Paris. I had a big old bald spot right here. My head's just shining. And the guy's like, can I try something on your head? He had some sort of dust. I looked like I had a full-on afro. Here, boss, take a picture. Get the stack in there. That's the most important part. Man, there's a lot of tweets at me. They all bust my chops. You will donk it away, don't trip. That would be classic. Oh, wow. I was getting a little quiet and depressed over here. I lost 8 pots in a row. Now you got me chirping again. John Robert from Mike Check. You like that, son?
I like that.
I was showing a little too much there.
I don't know if you can regenerate hair through a head massage. I think Bruce Willis tried that, and look what happened to him.
All right, let's get back over to the secondary table where Doyle Brunson sits with the most chips of this group. Action on Doyle, Queen Jack of diamonds. Under the gun, raised to 3,500.
We love Doyle, but just a gentle reminder, when he won back-to-back main events, they were against fields of 22 and 34.
100?
No.
Michael Miller with pocket nines.
Miller says he really didn't understand the game until he bought Super System, Doyle's training book opus.
And he will go up against the author with a re-raise to 11,000. He's got the temerity to raise Doyle Brunson. A lot of folds behind him. Back to Brunson now.
Doyle published Super System in 1979, then updated it with Super System 2 in 2004.
7,500 more, and Doyle calls, hoping to catch something before it gets too expensive. And I wonder if Miller got what he was hoping for. 8, 10, 6. Doyle picks up a gut shot, but nines are in short supply. He checks.
I believe Miller could get a good price for some of his hair from Jean Robert.
Miller commits 12,000 with nines and a gut shot.
Well, Doyle with his gut shot and 2 overs to the board, actually getting the right price to call here.
And he has the chips to afford it. 12,000 is the call. Turn card now is a jack, and Doyle's persistence is rewarded with top pair.
And Doyle does not waste time making his decisions.
Leads out 18,000 with the best hand. But Miller with the nines and an open ender now is unbelieving and makes the call. Pot over 86,000. River card deuce of diamonds. Well, is Doyle contemplating a thin value bet here?
I don't know. The last time I made a thin value bet, I proposed to my second wife.
Doyle checks, happy with the size of the pot. Miller checks behind. Doyle shows the best hand. Pocket nines, though, are second best for Miller.
The Super System reader conceding that one to the Super System author.
No bet on the river, but chips are still coming Doyle Brunson's way at the main event.
How good are you, my friend? Seriously.
Doyle seeking to cash in the main event for a 5th consecutive decade. He is the World Series of Poker. Tonight's bracelet moment is presented by PokerNews.com. The phenomenal comeback year for Mike the Mouth Matusow culminated in the $5,000 7-card stud 8 or better event, where Matusow defeated Matthew Ashton heads up to win his 4th World Series of Poker bracelet.
Feels amazing. Anytime you win a tournament, it feels great. All the young kids keep saying the old guys can't win anymore. Keep on plugging year after year, and good things happen.
The Mouth had a great 2013. He won the National Heads Up Poker Championship to start the year. Now a bracelet this summer.
And I sat next to the Mouth the final 2 hours of day 1 of that stud 8 event. It was a tough table. Lane Flack, Owais Ahmed, Ali Aslami, Maria Ho, Brett Ritchie, and of course me. He survived it and went on to win.
Well, we've got Doyle at the secondary table now to another 2-time world champ, Johnny Chan, with the board complete. His jacks up is no match for Tuan Lee's jacks full, almost 139K in the middle.
Tuan Lee, LA Pro, cashed at last year's main event.
He bets 50,000.
Chan, the last back-to-back main event champ in 1987-88. 10 bracelets, but he hardly ever plays any World Series events anymore.
I would call you in a heartbeat. 50,000, like, please call.
He's close.
He's full too, yeah.
Chan started the hand with over 167,000. Lee has him covered easily.
You don't know what I have, but you know what you have.
I know what I have, that's for sure.
That's good, dude. Gas thing is easy to rebuy.
You realize?
Huh?
You can revive it, it's not this year.
All right, I think it'll.
Johnny finally does muck his 2-pair.
The last time Johnny Chan had multiple World Series cashes in 1 year was 2008.
I'm really not gonna like it.
Lee gets stronger with almost 326,000. Johnny Chan drops below 100,000. To another outer table, a picture-perfect flop of 4 for ace gave Melanie Weisner 4's full before opponent Greg Jennings rivered a lesser full house.
Weisner, 26-year-old New York pro with 16 World Series cashes.
Big pot already.
Everybody needs to go to the bathroom. It's time to go.
Weisner just re-raised Jennings all in.
Jennings, a retired corporate executive with 3 World Series cashes this year.
Pocket sevens, ace 4, pocket sevens. I don't think you would have called with 4-7. Rule that out. 4-3 suited. Hell was that?
Yeah, give her credit. She put Jennings on a big hand.
Yeah, he's got me covered, so you can put some pressure on me.
She also happens to have the best hand. She flopped it. Tough to lay down a full house. It's for all his chips, though.
Jennings on his feet now.
All right, at this time we ask all spectators to please.
And he makes the call. And Weisner will score the knockout.
Wow. Nice hand.
Thank you.
Yeah, I remember when I first started playing poker, we didn't even allow women in the game. You see what happens?
Oh, 298 entered this year's main event, and one of them just knocked out Greg Jennings boat over boat. Want to learn more about your favorite World Series of Poker players? Head to ESPN.com/poker. Getting back over to the featured table, one of the amateurs now is Facebook's Olalua Okilola. He understands what a great opportunity it is to play in the main event.
This is like obviously the biggest poker tournament in the world. The fact that you can get 6,000 people to converge. Not necessarily everyone drops $10,000, but like different kinds of ways through tournaments or whatever. It's like drop $10,000 to play in this big tournament because they realize like what's at stake. If you like somehow manage to win everyone on the November night, you're immortalizing poker history. And like playing with so many big names. Like this is one of the only chances I'm ever going to get to play with Phil Ivey. Like just being able to like survive and play against the best in the world and like try and do as best as you can is pretty cool.
Ola was born in Nigeria, came to the U.S. to attend Howard University, and got hooked on poker playing with co-workers at Facebook.
With King 10, he opened to 3,500, picked up a customer, and Ivy in the big blind with 10-4 suited. Heads up now. Here's the flop. It is 4, 9, 10. Top and bottom pair for Phil Ivey. He checks it. Top pair, good kicker for Ola, and he checks. Jack of clubs. Ivey's still best, plus he picked up a flush draw. Now checks, hoping to encourage Ola to reach for chips, and he obliges. 4,000.
I'm surprised Ola didn't bet the flop. Now he jumps in.
And now Ivey with a check raise to 12,000.
Well, this is what you get when you want to play with Phil Ivey.
Ola, not wanting to go away shyly, calls for 8,000 more. River card, 7 of diamonds. Ivey's hand is best.
By the way, do you think Phil Ivey has ever typed in the words Facebook.com before? You know, maybe he friended Patrick Antonius.
He's got people for that. Ivey testing Ola with a bet of 20,000.
At this point, Ola just has second pair, but like Phil made her earlier, he's got to be wondering if Phil Ivey is trying to push him around.
And do you want to take that chance? Ola, enjoying his main event, says no thanks this time.
Well, it's not a big pot, but I believe 10% of it should be mine for spiritual support over the years.
It's a tough world out there in the main event, but you can't win chips without putting them to work. Ola dodges big danger, but the chips keep getting pushed to the same side of the table. The 2013 World Series of Poker is brought to you by the official WSOP social game. Download now on Facebook or your smartphone. Some of the very cool artwork on display in the hallways of the Rio. Kevin Pollak wishing he had those 2 red aces, but he does have a hard flush draw. But just a 25% chance of sticking around. He's all in against Jerry Robinson. Now the river card, it's a club, and Pollak's free gloating to friends period about his run last year is officially over.
134th last year, can't duplicate that great run this year.
That's a shame.
Kevin Pollak will walk away without cashing.
Good luck, y'all.
Comedians usually get an ovation when they're done, not at the main event.
To our defending champ, Greg Merson in the Blue Jays jersey whiffed on the flop, but did bet 2,000 into London poker pro Sam Grafton, who caught top pair, and Grafton makes the call. Turn card, 7 of clubs. Aces up now for Grafton. Another club improves Merson's chances with a flush draw and a 2-way straight draw. He checks.
Top 2's pretty good. I expect Grafton will fire away.
And he is reaching. Fires away for 5,900.
The 7 of clubs, one of the best cards Merson could see. He went from nuclear squadouche to a huge draw.
Merson reaching for a few more chips. That's a check raise from the champ to 16,500.
Merson with 10 high. Grafton should move all in here and see how Mr. Main Event Big Shot likes it.
Greg with no recorded tournament winnings since his main event win last year. Grafton just calls for 10,006 more. So the river card, Merson still looking to make something. Is the 8 of clubs, and Merson does make something. Runner, runner, flush.
Yeah, world champs go runner, runner. Guys in striped shirts with 76er caps go home eventually.
Merson says all in. He's got Grafton covered. Aces up for Sam Grafton, tested for his main event life. And with 4 clubs on board, he gives it up.
Good laydown.
And Greg Merson now with over 180,000 chips.
You know, he's the world champ. He should have a briefcase, not some goofy-looking backpack.
Back over to Jean-Robert Ballon. He's all in with pocket 5s, trying to double through fellow pro Matt Stout, holding ace-queen suited.
If it's Jean-Robert, we know how this ends.
Ballon at risk, and trip queens for Stout. The clouds darkening over Jean-Robert.
Yeah, Jean-Robert with a 7% chance of survival.
Jack of clubs brings Ballon to the threshold of elimination.
Stout, a 28-year-old Las Vegas pro with 29 World Series cashes. Ballon needs a 5.
The river is a 4, and Stout's 3 queens hold up, sending Jean-Robert Bolland to start seeking his next buy-in source. Stout has made a nice move here on day 3 of the main event.
Good luck. Jean-Robert has no chirping chips left.
So Bolland is gone, and Matt Stout has added over 100,000 to his stack already here on day 3, sitting with 143,500 at the moment. We are 1 level into day 3, and Mark Kroon still has the chip lead. Mizrachi has climbed into 2nd, and when he's got chips, he's more dangerous than most. Bracelet winner Rep Porter sitting in 10th place currently.
Mark Kroon finished 25th in this year's World Series Seniors event, now taking on all comers here and doing quite well. Oh, and there's Phil Ivey. He's got chips, and he owes me a main event bracelet.
The World Series of Poker main event kicked off with a couple of legends looking to make a deep run, while Jean-Robert Bolland found the exit after starting with a top 25 stack.
He'll revive it, just not this year.
The defending champ was here, and he's still here. The 2013 World Series of Poker main event is beginning to heat up.
Trying to push a farmer around.
Look at them all, they're scared of me.
Gentlemen, have a great year.
For Norman, Chad, and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarron. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. More main event right now.